Hello and welcome to episode 71 of Let's Talk Tactics. I'm your host, Zach Burrell.
And then a boon.
We're joined, yes, that is again by Vinny. Vinny, how are you doing?
Yep, not bad.
So you are officially the first guest to get two episodes in a row. I think that shows how we do appreciate you, and also it just happens to be that you have another excellent addition to your roster this week as well. We talked about Mono Water a bit last week, and we have Astrius, not Astoria, but Astrius this week. I'm assuming everybody here pulled this unit. So I guess we'll go around the table here. So Daniel, how did your polls go?
Um, they went all right. I only went to like 35%, so that's like what, like 7 polls?
Yeah, I went to 40% on my end. I finally didn't have to pity something. It was great. And Vinny, how'd you do?
I got him on 20%, but
Oh,
Nailed it.
nice.
because I really wanted him level 115, so I wanted to get him to level 99 so I can buy him Mindsters. I wanted him Guild Wars that day, so I did a few extra pulls.
Oh, nice for the medals.
Yeah, for the medals, for the shards, just to get him day one, because I've been waiting for him for ages.
Makes sense.
So,
Yeah, it's kind of how I felt with like Velas. I overextended so horribly to get him to 99 and then to get him up to 120 basically as fast as possible. I know that feeling for sure. We do have one other release this week besides Astrius that we'll cover real quick before we do get into the big man himself. And also, if we have some extra time at the end, I have a couple other topics to bring up. That'll depend, though. I know we had like a 2-hour cast last week, so we might kind of balance it out this week with a little bit of a shorter one, but we'll see what happens. And then we also have chat popping off over here talking about some things we'll bring up later to go along with Astrius. But oh man, this chat's wild sometimes. All right. Yeah, we'll start off with the new vision card for Joker. Well, it's for Joker, right? But it's also just a mono dark card. Is changing the world takes heart. So wholesome name. Gives you 341 HP, 136 attack, 20 dex, and 4 agility. Pretty sweet. Love seeing the dex and agility on cards. I think the only thing that could be like more desirable might be like 20 luck instead of dex or something. But the bestowed effects for dark units gives 10% attack, and I always hate these weird numbers how they're
15.
split up. 15, yeah. So 15 accuracy, which is pretty good. I like that. Joker himself gets 20 dark attack. Then, of course, the other collaboration units have to have their piece of this pie. So Queen gets attack and magic 20%, and then Violet gets slash attack 20. Both on bestow, obviously. But then the party effects are all mono dark. So the two like normal abilities are Human Killer, which goes up to 25, and Accuracy, which goes up to 13. And then the party effect for maxing it gives 25% HP. I really like this card. It's pretty sweet. I am not pulling for it as much as I like it, just because I have so much else going on right now. But and really, honestly, I'm not going to be doing mono dark anytime soon. So it's just not a super high priority for me. But I definitely couldn't fault anybody for wanting this card. Daniel, did you pick this one up? I know it had
Yeah, I
like the
mean,
2K guaranteed, so it's
yeah,
not too bad.
like I'm surprised. Like it's so easy to pick up for like any like spenders. Um, yeah,
I
I
may
got
end up the collaboration's going for a while. Maybe I'll end up picking
yeah
it up
maybe.
later. Vinny, I'm assuming you just skip this thing.
yeah, skipping. I think it's a very good one. It's something, if I were to pull it, I'd put it on the sub VCs, because all of his stats don't get decreased by that much as a sub VC, and the accuracy overlaps with the Black Rose Helena VC. The HP can overlap with the Omega VC.
Oh, okay,
Uh,
that's a good point.
but overall, I think it's a very good card.
So, some chat saying that the name's a pun on the plot of the game. Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Literally takes ours. Nice.
I like how it has like a bestowed accuracy as well as like I mean it has the hybrid accuracy where like you're probably, especially with sub VCs, you're probably going to be running Black Rose Helena's card. But the HP 25% as well as like another like win more like human killer and physical attacks for the mostly physical like dark squad. Yeah, it's just crazy.
Yeah, very good card all around. Obviously I, I mean, at least I see a lot of complaints about evade and stuff going around, and Joker in general is pretty good against them, just having really high base stats, but just tacking this on top, I mean, I think it's going to make a lot of, anyone who's using Joker right now is going to be happy with this card, so,
The
um,
the only question I have is, for those of us who are familiar with past VC, like collab VCs, especially the ones that you can't get anymore, like, do you think people will regret not getting this?
I will, probably, and I'm fully aware of that, but I don't know if I can spare the Viz right now, but yeah,
Yeah, I don't
definitely,
think I'll ever become a dark comp. I don't think I'll ever use a dark comp really. So I wouldn't. That's what I'm thinking now. But there are some good dark units coming in the future, and if you get those units, this dark card will be very good for those units as well.
yeah,
So
and I guess I misspoke earlier. The human killer is only on physical attacks, so I don't think I specified that. I just said human killer, which does change some things because the dark units I'd be interested in would be like Golbez or something. And actually, Isfar in chat was saying that he picked it up because he loves him some Golbez, but that's actually what made me think about it. Is the human killer doesn't really help him, nor does the attack. But I guess all the accuracy is kind of the draw to that. And of course the HP percent as well. Trying to think of like on a mixed team, what would the main VC on Golbez be? I guess Black Rose Helena, right? I guess you just have that on.
Black Rose Helen or the Typhon VC.
The Typhon VC does what again? I always think of like I forget things aren't
Group
all
magic.
just mono element.
Yeah, Typhon VC is group magic attack and accuracy. The
Right,
elemental
right.
one I can't remember.
It's wind
But
resist
as a
for wind
rainbow
units.
VC.
Okay. Yeah, I could definitely see that one then. Oh, it gives luck too, which is sweet. Okay, yeah, I can see it. Says the HP is mainly for sub. Plus 5 years from now, when we've gotten a second FF8 rerun, Ultimate will probably be dark. A second FF8 rerun? Oh, because the first time's always like the heroes or whatever. The second time we'll get villains. Got you. But
There's
anyway, yeah.
also
What's that?
there's also Garbles VC. That's another dark magic one, but
Always forget about that because
yeah.
I don't have it. Yeah, that's just one that's never. I forgot about that VC. Damn, that is one I don't have still. That's in a normal pool. Shit. I usually skip Rainbow VCs now because I'm like, there's nothing new to get, but now I won't because I could get that and it'd be exciting. Any other thoughts on this card before we move into the main topic here? Nope. All right, cool. So, Astrius. He's been kind of. I have seen probably more hype for this unit, especially alongside Celeste, than I dare say anything else in the game. Like maybe Warrior of Light was kind of up there with people really wanting him for like that pure tanking, or maybe like, oh god, I don't even. Is there any other unit you can think of that's been more hyped than this? Because like Sid was basically day one. I'm not going to count Orlando in the beginning of the game. So, Daniel,
I
do
mean,
you think of anyone?
Violet is the most recent one I can think of that I've heard way more than Astrius. I mean, he's
Oh, we
definitely
we live in different worlds, I guess. I don't know.
yeah,
I saw nothing for Violet.
really.
No, but I
I
mean,
saw
besides like
nothing
the
for
PvP
Violet.
server, like PvP server, sure. But I'm saying like the whole of like community and stuff.
Oh, that's all of my influences to basically.
That's
I
fair.
don't
That's
care about.
fair. Well, because the thing about the units are like they're good. They're fairly good on auto, but also monsters in PvP. So that's why we're like really excited about stuff. I guess Locke, maybe you could make arguments, but Celeste more so than Locke at the same time. I think. Anyway, point is, on paper this unit looks insane, and then we'll talk about in practice what we've seen so far. Let's get the quick rundown. He's a 3-1. Actually, I'll start with job. So he has Will Weaver, which makes him a katana user. That's kind of his special job with sub sniper and sub strider. So strider is kind of the alternate axe job that Summer Kilfe has, and then I want to say there's another unit with Is there another unit with that job yet, or is it just Summer Kilfe?
I think it's just those two.
Okay. And then sniper, obviously, we know that one by now. Water unit, 100 cost, 3-1 movement. Can wear helmets, armor, and accessories. His TMR is called the Everhope Mantle. It's an accessory. gives 312 HP, 8 defense, 10 spirit, and 8 accuracy. And it has an ability called Rebel Grace. Oh, that's weird. I feel like it should be Rebel's Grace, but 2 uses, 28 TP. It has like that interesting, like, instead of being a cross, it's actually an X. So a shape that we're starting to see more with these abilities. But I think it's the first time we've seen a buff like this, if I'm not mistaken. Someone correct me if I'm wrong, but increased agility by 25% for 3 turns for allies, attack by 40% for allies, and bravery by 8 for allies. So actually, this is another item where if you leveled up a little bit, you can get permanent brave increases throughout matches for those farming
It's
setups.
the third one.
Third one?
Yeah, because there's Velric's.
I said another one, to be fair.
Yeah. No, I'm just being specific.
Yeah.
So like Cecil's and Velric's are the
Cecil.
only other ones, as far as I know.
Oh, Velric is the one. Yeah, okay. Cecil's the one I always use because it's just a massive AoE. But I guess Velric's does too. It's interesting. It's Velric's personal though, right? Okay, so it's just whoever
It's
uses
square.
it. Oh, it's a square. Okay. His master ability gets the water party passives, but also gets an additional 10% for himself, HP, sorry, and also 10 AoE resist. So overall, decent stuff so far. The TMR, I could see using if you're like really trying to stack agility, but I don't know, man. He can work Keenblade. It's gonna be hard to get off of either using that or like a Kane TMR or an AP gen thing. I don't know. There's so many other good TMRs. It's hard to justify something like this. Going to stats though, I did actually not figure out. I knew it existed, but haven't taken the time to before. I can use the builder to see base stats in addition to the stat summaries.
That's what I've been doing this whole time.
I know. I've been like mental calculating the base stats whenever I have to refer to them.
Well, congrats.
Right. The only problem is I have all these like guild statues in the way, so like I can't see the totals without all the boards and mastery skills and stuff. Is there a way I can make that easier to see? Without like changing my entire War of the Visions calc?
Wait, what?
So I want to see base versus like
Total?
with board and everything, yeah. But
You
mine
just-
includes guild statues, master ranks, stuff like that in here as well.
When you
it should be.
expand the stats detail on the
Yeah.
right, you can see the base, and you can see the board, and then the master skill. It should all already be separated out.
You're
And all the other
correct.
stuff is reset.
But I have guild statues, master ranks, and all those things also adding in. So
Really?
it's yeah, because I have it just saved as like my War of the Visions calc account. So like I have like what my all my stuff is. So whenever I make a build, I can
Oh.
see what my values will be.
Yeah, don't do that.
What do you mean don't do that? how will you know what your totals are? I actually don't use it enough to really
I have not
justify
been
it.
logged in since we started, since it came out.
Oh, I could just log out. I guess that will
Yeah.
work, right? Or we'll keep it like cached. It's probably gonna be cached still, and that'd be really annoying. Does yes. All right, logging out works. All right, we can do that. Now we're good to go. All right, so that's how you see it faster than I do. Then with all the luck totals, for some reason I just refuse to use it. I have no idea why. All right. Anyway, this man gets 4.2k HP after everything is said and done. 567 attack, and he gets a shit ton from his board though. Like he's got 425 base, but like 142 on the board is like just like they put a weapon on his board essentially. Magic, we don't really care. He gets 8 spirit from his board, which is sweet. Always like to see some sort of innate defense and spirit on a unit. Whopping 62 base agility with an additional 6 on the board. Like he's a samurai, so I guess you can argue, a katana user. So you could argue like the theme of being fast and like fast cuts and shit, but he doesn't look like he should be that agile. He's got like his plate armor. Yeah, it's insane.
Although samurai, to be fair, they wore heavy armor too.
That's true. It's funny though, in like video games, they're typically like a medium armor class or something, where even though it's like this heavy ass armor. Anyway, okay, so Dex, he's got 194 base with 238 total, 164 base luck with 246 total. I still have a horrible mental radar for how good these values are. Luck and Dex wise, how is he? I know it's high total, but in terms of base, is that a high value? 168. My brain just isn't calibrated for this. I'm sorry.
I think it's kind of average. I think the highs are like 200ish,
90s, right?
212. The Dex is pretty good though. Like anything that's approaching 200 is like good on average, or
That's what I was thinking.
reaching the higher, like above average. Also, it's I wanted to note that like his attack on board is I think a lot because of his attack 20% node.
Oh, for sure.
That just adds into the board total.
Vinny, any input on the Dex luck sort of mental shortcuts?
Yeah. Well, I did the calculations for his accuracy and compared him to Ex Victoria. And even after Ex Victoria's MA2 buff, which gives it an extra 25 accuracy, I found Astrius was still more accurate with his passives included, though.
Okay. Yeah, we'll look
So
at the passes in a
it's
moment
very
then.
accurate.
I'll try to get my way over there. Yeah, I mean, really solid stat lineup. He's got over 4,000 HP, approaching 600 attack, massive agility, a little bit of built-in, like spirit defense. Not defense, but you know, among the two, he's got some built-in, and fairly decent accuracy. So we haven't really had a complaint yet. Going into his actual damage type resists, he's 10 across the board, but one of them's negative, and that's strike. But they are all 10s. Then his status resists, he is, here you go, Daniel, 50% resist to disable. And then also 50% to stun, which honestly is one of the most tilting statuses in the game. Because it's really not, like, you lose a turn and you're not, like, it's not for 3 turns, but it's so fucking annoying just to see those little stars going around my unit's head, and it's just, like, taunting me. I hate it.
Nah, bro. Paralyze is more annoying for me because you're like, oh, I got that 20%, but you
Yeah,
never
right, you
fucking get
never
it.
hit it, yeah.
It's for 3 turns. And
Well,
then,
yeah,
I mean, stun, like you can still evade. So, I don't, anyways,
especially when your opponent is also paralyzed and they get like all of their turns. Yeah, it's how it seems to always work.
at least you know you're going to be stunned and you're
Right,
not
right.
taking any move or action or attacks. So your turn comes faster.
I actually had Elena get stunned in guild battle, and jokes on them, she lapped them and just took her turn anyway, which was hilarious.
Exactly.
And then he also gets 10% to confusion, so pretty decent status resist. He has one of the major ones that we like to see get their box ticked. But obviously he's going to be, you know, he's charmable, stoppable, these things. So look into giving him some resists there, maybe on trust stones or something, or maybe some buffs. Then again, maybe the CM meta at a given time may not really include those, but or just play around them, right? Going into his passives though, I love when I see like 5 passives, but there's like 10 lines of text for all of them because you know it's going to be hard to pick which ones you want. But his 2 unique ones are Combat Refinement, which gives 24% attack and then acquired AP 40. Like, ridiculousness. We always talk about how we like the AP passes, but we always feel bad putting them on. But as soon as you tack them onto stuff, it's great. Like, it becomes insane and you never want to take it off. But then his other one is Adamant Physique, which is one of the most, like, Chad sounding passives I've seen in a long time. HP 12% and slash resist 12%. An interesting take on sort of the like Holy Knight's protection passive. So instead of getting defense, he gets a resist type, which is pretty cool. And then I will mention the Strider passive because that we're less familiar with that, I think. Which is Natural Instincts, giving 25 flat accuracy and 40 defense pen. You know, when I said there's 10 lines and it means it's gonna be hard to pick passes, but I have to imagine Combat Refinement and Natural Instincts are just like, you know, the natural instinct to use. They insane acquired AP, accuracy, and defense, just right there. The attack's cool, but all of that utility is insane. Vinny, actually, we'll talk about builds later. Sorry, I'll just kind of get through the abilities. Going to his main job, or sorry, I guess reactions, right? So he has, oh god, this is an English word and I still can't say it. It was his prescient advantage.
Prescient, yeah.
All right, prescient advantage. It's a preemptive reaction, which we like to see. Range 3 with range height 2 is pretty wild on a slash reaction. 30% chance to proc on all damage. It does 121 damage and increases AP by 20 for self, which is pretty sweet. I'm assuming that's on hit, so if they like evade the slash attack, I assume you don't get the AP. Has anyone seen that interaction yet and can confirm? Whether it be in chat or Vinny or Daniel.
I've not seen it being evaded before now.
Yeah, I would expect if it missed, then you wouldn't get the AP.
Chat's
Just like
saying if they
just like
recall, you get it
Daddy's done.
regardless, but it looks like no like I've seen it happen kind of things. Anyway, we'll come back to that. Someone brings it up.
Interesting.
Yeah, it I could see it being regardless, just because it is a reaction. Like it's not like it's just part of the reaction proc, right? It's like it's a chance, and you do some damage, get some AP, and that's just like the reaction, not
Okay.
necessarily.
Yeah,
It's not like you're using an ability, so I can see it.
it's not like linked to the damage.
Right.
Interesting.
But yeah, so that's actually a really cool reaction. Because his other ones are, I guess he takes less damage as one of them, which is nice from Danger Sense on Strider.
Yeah.
So 20% to reduce by 30.
Sword guard, basically.
Yeah. I think the pressure one's just really cool. So I guess Counter Smoke's alright too, actually. So decrease
seen
accuracy
him-
for target. Damn, I can actually see an argument for most of these in different situations. People don't get that close though. I don't know. What's that? What are you thinking, Daniel?
Oh, I didn't want to keep adding comments and like make Vinny wait until the end. So like I'm sure we can add our comments later. Usually I try to wait.
Yeah, I'll give a reason why to choose possession advantage afterwards, I guess. Once we get to his LB.
Because I'll say the LB, right? Yeah. The LB is silly. Okay, so all right, sorry. Try to have minimal side things. All right. So, main job, Edge of No Return. It's his sort of spammable 5 cast ability, got a range of 4, which is pretty sweet. Range height 1. Dispels re-raise before any damage. So he just has a 1-click, boom, no more re-raise. 121 small damage mod. Cool. That's great. Oh, also these scale 120% attack. That's pretty sweet. So he actually really benefits from that attack stat. That's insane. Yeah, I mean, we love to see before damage removals like that. It makes it's super useful. I don't think he's gonna have too many accuracy problems, as we'll get into, but if he does, cool. Still, it's basically like hitting an Elena once, because you're taking off the re-raise. Or sorry, not Elena, fucking Locke. Or Elena if she has re-raise from Yuna or the mask or something. Indomitability. So we're just gonna skip right to the EX upgrade version, which is Indomitability Plus. Gets 2 uses with the upgrade, 32 TP, gives him courage, and then if he has courage on, he gets 40 defense spend and 33 decreased AP consumption. So, yeah. Well, I guess we'll talk about how that links with the passives later. But cross rend, you're muted, I think, Daniel. I saw you just. Oh, I thought you just said something. Okay. Gets upgraded cross destruction. It is a 27 AP, 3 use. Basically Victora LB, except like 1 less range. So it's this like giant X. Sorry, jeez. Decreases defense by 30 on targets hit, and again before damage. Fantastic. Then medium damage 165 mod. This is a really cool ability. So from 3 range away you can hit an X. So it's essentially like a pseudo, what is this, 1 2 3 4 5 6, like it's almost like 7 range on the farthest diagonals, which is nuts. Because whenever you do a diagonal range, it takes 2 for most range indicators. So effectively, this is insane. The range on this is nuts. Then it goes into Unfailing Void Blade, badass name. It's a 200 damage mod with 100% hit chance. 3 uses, 31 AP, and this goes in like a weird. It's range 3, but then it has like the little line. So small AOE, not the full cross, but this. See, AoE in range 1, which actually most of his stuff is AoE in range 1, right? I think so far everything has been. Then he's got Deep Fortification. Okay. 36 TP, 3 uses. 3 uses. It's a buff in sort of like the box around the unit, so all 8 spaces. Increases slash resist by 25 for allies. Increases max HP and restores that HP raise by 20% for allies. So it's kind of like was it Divine Grace, I think is the ability, except stronger. And then also he gets essentially lifesteal, so absorbing damage dealt for self by 30% for 3 turns. That's pretty cool. I know we've seen abilities that do this before, but just seeing more of it makes me happy because I really love lifestealing in games. Then his last ability probably has one of the coolest names, which is Bulwark Breach. It is a 26 AP, 3 use, 2 hit slash move, range 3, range height 1, as the rest of his stuff has been. Breaks barriers before damage, and 200 damage mob. So, I mean, he's got barrier breaks, re-raise, nullification. He's got defense breaks, 100% hit, big AoEs, big damage, courage. All right. Sub job for his main job. First ability is Enervation. This is a really crazy, like, range 6, but only in a super, just a straight line. Range height 1. Decreases AP by 30x. So I think when we see his 30x, it literally just means 30, if I recall. And then 17 AP to use this ability. He gets 3 uses. Then Decelerating Edge is a 165, so medium damage attack, range 3, but it hits all in that range in a line of 3 with a chance to slow, and this is 26 AP, 3 uses. That's interesting that he gets a slow down there too. However, I guess we'll talk about which sub jobs we want to use. For Sniper, his job 12 option is Slow Arrow, so it's the movement decreasing one. Then his Strider is Call of the Wild, which gives 30 accuracy and 30 slash pen. Then he has this LB. The first... Alright, so the actual LB is called Release the Void. Badass name also. Decreases slash resist by 38 for target. So it is a single target from 3 range. Sounds like it's limiting, but it's not. Decrease slash resist by 38 for target. Then it has this line. When casting another attack skill, also launch the following skill on target. So essentially, what was the Nox's ability called? Armiger? I think it's like this, correct? Where for 3 turns, you send out this 86 damage mod, typeless, elementless little thing called Crystal Tracer, which if you look at the range on this, it's like range height 9. It's got range of like 9 and 11. Just basically, wherever somebody is, they're going to get hit by it. Then again, it's weird to have that range because he has nothing that has a cast time. And all of his stuff is within that range, so I don't know why it has to be that far. I guess maybe it's future proofing.
It's just a wonky thing. Like it's further than any of his skills have range.
Right.
So it's just they're just
so
covering
just to cover
that.
it all. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it's a 200 damage mod, of course, because LB things and 43 AP. Honestly, something that's like interesting and like it has a debuff on it. It adds this cool ability, high damage. I'm surprised it's not like 49 AP or something, but I'll take 43 AP all day. Yeah. Nuts kit. I'm gonna shut up now and have you guys talk about him for a little bit, because clearly, there's a lot to talk about here. So, Vinny, pass it over to you. Give us thoughts, as many thoughts as you have to start with, and we'll talk about builds and stuff.
Don't hold back.
So some nuances. Here's LB, that Crystal Tracer. It works on the LB cast.
Oh, that's hilarious. Oh, it is before the damage. That's cool.
Yep. It doesn't work for basic attacks.
Okay.
It works for his reaction ability. Proficient advantage. And since the other ones don't deal damage, this makes this his unique reaction just a little bit better.
Wait, so it does work on that, right? On his reaction?
It does work. Yeah.
That's weird because it's not an attack skill, so it's interesting that it's coded like that because it specifies as attack skill, right? So it doesn't work on the basic attack, but it works on his reaction. I guess it's still a skill, but it's not an attack. Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah, probably just the way it's coded.
Sure.
Yeah, because you may have seen videos on it, but because of this after attack, similar to Noctis's Arminger, if you kill them with the skill, and if they have courage, the Crystal Tracer will hit after courage, so you'll actually kill them anyway, or kill them through courage. Imagine if they have re-raise, courage, re-raise and courage, then Edge of No Return could possibly still kill them.
That's fantastic.
Which is, pretty hilarious. With regards to passives, and as you pointed out, the two that I would choose, Natural Instincts and Combat Refinement. But you could argue for any of them. Adamant Physique is just a lot of extra bulk. And Sniper Mastery, you get a bit of luck, which is a little bit of accuracy. I don't think it's that worth it, and considering he actually has a lot of accuracy in his kit already, and just like a lot of water vision cards, and his self buff gives him a lot of accuracy. Um, I would rather pick a different passive than have sniper mastery. And with regards to which passive to choose, between sniper and strider, the go-to is probably strider, and the only reason to go to sniper is just for a different damage type, because target, one of the sniper self buffs, 40 defense penetration doesn't stack with his courage buff, so you're only getting
Mm-hmm.
the one range out of it. And when you look at the range of the sniper skills, they're at best 4 range, except for that TP skill, which is 5 range, but it's a TP skill. So you're not actually getting that much range out of it, whereas the Strider subjob has Constricting Cleave, which is 5 range. So you're picking a range subjob for less range than the other subjob.
Then the axe
Oh,
user.
yeah.
Jesus.
Um,
Oh, as
Yeah,
far in chat, good point. For range height, you get with sniper. So I guess it
yeah.
could be map
and
dependent, but
like it synergizes well with like Lara Croft and Winter Victoria and stuff like that. So I can see that
Yeah.
being a thing.
Yeah, there are definitely good reasons to choose sniper. But range isn't one of them, usually.
distance, yeah.
Um, I think one of the general build choices, what faith would you put him at? Um, I'm going with 30 because nothing really requires him to have high faith. Like he doesn't have self protect or self shell or bells. The only way to get them is from a TMR. Um, he does have like status effects on all of his subjobs, but I find he's more there to just kill things. So yeah, I'm going 30 faith. And with regards to bells, does he need it or not? Usually no.
Probably not.
The AP up and
Combat
AP
refinement.
down.
Yeah.
Okay, so I hope you don't mind me interjecting real quick. So I would say the only counter I have to the 30 faith is how often do you plan on bringing a healer to heal him?
Next CM.
I think
Yeah,
like
next time.
healing up though, like a lot of healers these days have healing up, so it really isn't going to be awful. I don't think. And also, I think taking less damage is just huge. From magic of things like Jaden, Elena, and all that. Also, my other thought though is, are you worried about haste at all? Or I guess all the hasters will have 97 faith, so it doesn't matter that he has 30. So it just won't affect it. Is that kind of the logic there?
And what 50 faith hasters are there? Probably Titus. Um,
I guess that's fair.
just
That's a better way to look at it. Yeah.
so yeah, you'd lose synergy with Titus if you had him at one of them at 30 faith. Not sure who else.
And I guess with
Maybe Joker's protect, AoE protect as well.
yeah, I guess with 2 courage casts, like he has 3 lives anyways, right? So maybe you're not that worried about healing him to, I don't know, push that off.
Going to my barracks real quick. Change him back to 30. I didn't even think about that. That is true, actually.
But yeah, sorry to interrupt.
No worries. So in terms of overall building, like yeah, the real question will be, do you want to run bells or not? Or protect or any of the other TMRs. If it's a no, then 30 faith is probably one of the better options. Definitely not 97 or 70 in my opinion, because all of his status chances are at best 25 rate, so they're not that reliable.
Yeah, I think like the second question I always have when I think about whether a unit needs to run bells is like who else might be using it on the team, right? Or I mean, I guess concurrently, like are there crystals on the map, which we're probably not going to see for season 2, grand season 2, from what I expect. Um, The first obviously being like how well can they generate AP or keep it in terms of like decreased AP consumption or whatever. Um, so yeah,
Which
I would
he
say
has a lot.
like maybe he doesn't need to use bells as much as somebody else might on the squad.
Yeah, chat, rip crystals, absolutely. Like, if we could just get crystals back, this would be so much less of a discussion, too. Like, ugh. Ugh. Anyway, sorry, continue.
I think in currently in global, a lot of people pair him with Velis because Velis can also give AP with his heals. So another reason why you don't need bells on him. I think that's pretty much everything I had to say on building him roughly, or on his skills.
I guess, are there specific, like, more niche builds you have in mind for using him on sub sniper at all? Like, where you might want to take long range or some weird shit, like long range target, he's doing some crazy approach thing, or are you just keeping it consistent with, natural instincts and combat refinement and all the good stuff?
I'd rather have an ally gunner to give aimed fire to him. So
That's
someone
fair.
like, well, Laura's the main one. Does Laura have? Yeah, Laura has gunner sub. Um, yeah, so I'd rather have someone else give him the range buff, and to get like his other range passive, like it means giving up one of his better passives.
Right.
It does give another reason to run sniper mastery. And it does combo well with Laura's VC, with the luck VC. It also gives missile attack. And Laz in chat said Crace as well. So Astrius, Crace, Uni could be a good team.
Be unexpectedly good.
We just I like how we laugh halfway through saying uni. But we'll talk about it in a little bit. Spoilers.
All right, so Strider's obviously like the main go-to as far as like the sub job, right? I mean, you get the accuracy buff, you get the attack slash spirit buff, the chance to slow, even the two attack like Lupine Rends that Killfay has, and slash res and accuracy and from Call of the Wild. It's obviously like the one to go to, right? But would you expect to see him using his main sub job for the awesome AP reduction, and to a lesser extent the chance to slow, which probably isn't going to happen.
I mean, the 6 range is really good.
Yeah,
His longest range skill is like the cross destruction, which awkwardly it's less range if you line up with him, but then innovation you have to line up. So I guess that covers each other in a way. It's quite funny. Um, I think I'd probably always use. I think I'd probably prefer Strider over Will Weaver. Just because Strider just gives so much more.
right.
Well, I
Like
mean,
you,
even like all of his sub jobs have slow too, essentially. So like two of them have slow. So Will Weaver versus Strider. Sniper has like decreased agility. It's not
yeah,
exactly slow, but it has like the movement down. He really does not want his opponents keeping up.
yeah.
So
So I think
thematically, yeah, I mean, there's very little argument I think for Will Weaver in PvP at least, unless you
so I would
really want that
say
AP break.
what it comes down to, I think, is like what role he's playing. Like if he's obviously going to be the hyper carry, I would go Strider. But for whatever reason, if he's not going to be like the main focus of your team, then maybe like you could throw out an enervation, and your opponent isn't expecting it, and it'll set up something else. I don't know, but yeah, Strider's probably it's just so good.
Yeah, it's very
I
good.
really am not looking forward to seeing these new classes, these new jobs like that are pushing the power curve higher. And not just the new jobs, but like the skills like indomitability, where he has courage, and as long as courage is up, which means you have to drop him to almost to zero, basically, you have these effects. Like this isn't the first time that we've seen this. It's the first time we've seen something this crazy, but it's almost like it's further setting the precedent for more of things like this that we can expect. And I don't think that's a good thing.
Yeah, the fact that it's not for like 3 turns or something, it's just while he has it is
Yeah.
disgusting. Like, it's so insane. Oh man, because it combines on both ends too. So it's decreased AP consumption and acquired AP increase on his passive. So it's like not only are you getting more, you're spending less. And would you guys rather have like an extreme of one of those rather than both, or how do you think that works out in terms of effectiveness? I feel like obviously maybe it's essentially the same thing, but if you have more AP consumption decrease, you can get going faster. You don't have to buff, but I mean he wants to, of course. Whereas if you have both, it kind of incentivizes both ways. Is there any like anyone else at all in the same realm of what I'm thinking right now?
Kind of get what you're thinking about. I mean, it's also made me look at the AP right hand set under runes, where you
Mm-hmm.
get like loads of AP stuff, like just stacking loads of AP stuff, and then going in with like infinite AP without having to use bells. But I find that with one of the issues with Astrius is that he's got low movement. And whilst he does have 7 range, he does find a lot of turns buffing along the way. So I think from when I've played with him, 33 AP consumption and that 40 AP acquired up is enough for him to like sustain him for most of the battle.
It feels like he's like a pre-Sephiroth,
Kind of,
like
yeah.
a whole like katana user with insane range, even further than Sid's was. Um, I'm just honestly glad that his courage skill doesn't include like slash pen instead of like it has defense pen, which doesn't stack with his target. Like if it was slash pen, on top of his defense pen passive, and you know like his sword, which we haven't got into yet. I think that would be worse. I mean, it's already bad. Like tacking on anything to a courage skill is bad in my opinion, but it could be worse, I guess. And I know I tend to say it could be worse, but
You mean bad like bad for balance purposes, not bad
yeah,
as
yeah,
in
yeah.
yeah. I'm like
Like I would
making sure we're clear.
rather him have like full defense pen and still struggle somewhat against slash
Sure.
resistance.
Yeah, I mean, between the weapon, which I'll talk about in a second here, just so we can have the full picture, and also Call of the Wild on Strider. Like, yeah, it's very insane. Hello, she just popped right in. Yeah, let's talk about the weapon real quick. So he gets his sort of, I always want to say unique, but it's not what I mean. The weapon that released alongside him is Glimmering Edge Quelsad. I'm assuming it's Quelsad. There's 2 A's. I never really know how to really say that, but 3 versions: Assault, Aim, and Crit. The Aim version gives 12 accuracy. The Crit gives 20 crit rate. And then the Assault maxes out at 171 attack. The other 2 being in like the 119 to 136 range, depending on which version. It's another one of those with really weirdly low accuracy. The crit rate's decent if you do want to build crit. It's not horrible. My brain's screaming assault as normal, but I'm open to critiques on that. But the passive at +5 is increased slash resist penetration by 20. So as Daniel mentioned, he does get a decent amount from here, and then if you combine that with his Strider ability, he ends up with 50 slash res pen. Very, very solid. The cool thing about this is this 20, like if you look at the runes and stuff now, the slash resist penetration there is it 7 or 10? Let's forget.
What?
Well, the slash res
Slash
pen,
red, I think it's 10.
I believe it's 10 as well.
Yeah. Oh, the rune. Sorry.
Yeah, it is. So this tops out, much higher than that, and we've talked about kind of liking this more than having slash attack these days. So you can still get your whatever it is, 7 or 10 slash attack. 10 slash attack from those as well. So you can get like a little bit of everything. And having this go to 20 is nuts. But actually, I just realized this is an MR weapon with a 20. Is
Yeah.
that normal for all the penetrations? Am I just like completely blanking on this?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think.
Fair enough. All right. Any arguments for aim or critical from either of you?
Yes. So his Crystal Tracer can crit as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so you can double tap into critting.
Okay. Oh, you said double tap, which reminds me. I think I know the answer, but I'm gonna ask the question because I feel like it just has to be addressed. If a skill has multiple hits, it still only procs once, correct? For Crystal Tracer?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's not like you go double hit and it goes pew pew. That'd be nuts. Give him wait, does he have a two-handed, does he have like a big sword oh, he doesn't. Okay, I was gonna say give him exorcist and just like 6 hit, but not how that works.
But
Um
at the same time, like as long as he hits once in the multi-hit, like it'll go through. So
right, which
trying to hit
is
UR Zazan or something with insane luck.
dodge the first one, get hit by the second one, gets a crystal
Yeah.
tracer in the face.
Or do you just get the guaranteed hit?
I assume they can dodge the crystal tracer.
So I've read
Um,
that if the original attack hits, then the after attack will definitely hit. And if you miss, the after attack won't even try.
Interesting. Well, I mean, the not hitting, not trying thing makes sense, but that's interesting that it's a confirmed. I feel like I need to get a very low percentage. I feel like I have to test this, but
yeah, I would say in terms of the different types, like I don't of the eight like katana users right now, I don't think any of them really struggle with critting. So like it's almost like are you trying to get somebody with a crit chance of 80 to push it to 100? Like at some point, it's like it's saturated enough that you don't really have to push crit. And for just katana users, in my opinion, don't really struggle with critting. So I would rather have higher damage or to a lesser extent accuracy.
he has pretty decent dex too, which factors into the whole critting thing. Crit's not a calculation I have loaded in my brain either. I don't know. Are there any units that we know of that basically push those like 80 to 90% crits? I mean, I don't even know what that would look like stat wise, especially because Dex seems to have such diminishing returns on the way it scales, but maybe that's just for accuracy and not for crit. But
Yeah, it's just the trend I've noticed with like the samurai classes, the blade souls, like they tend to have like a higher base crit, like either from like board or like having well, I don't want to say base crit because they have skills that can increase like their chance to crit. And the especially the classes that like I think Blade Soul is the one where like if you crit, then such happens, such and such. Especially the ones that rely on critting, like if your whole kit relies on you critting, like you're not really going to struggle as much. I feel like you get more benefit out of a weapon, a crit type weapon, if you have less crits than you
right,
have. So, yeah,
like
honestly,
going from 20 to 40 feels more
exactly,
significant
yeah,
than going from like 80 to 100. But
yeah. So, and
that's
let's,
technically,
I mean, let's be honest. Like nobody's going to build an aim glimmering edge. Like
yeah, the aim's
it's
pretty
got the
shit.
worst
It's
attack
lower attack and
and the accuracy
middling
is
accuracy.
negligible. As sad as that makes me to say that, like it's going to be halved at least.
Especially
Um,
when I see most people. I know there's exceptions, but most people, what I'm seeing, they're building aim runes anyway, and then you have the accuracy passive on your runes, so it's like and stat there, so it's like you're only probably getting half of the accuracy anyway if you did use this version. So it's yeah, it's a rough spot. All right, so Vinny, you have used him in free matches already, correct? So you want to talk
Yep.
about what you've seen so far from that?
So one of the current map is the library map, and that has loads of height variations. And it's brought about his biggest weakness, only one jump and three movement. Um, and I think all of his height attack skills are height range one. So that's also really hindered him. Overall, what are the downs? I think that's pretty much his only downside. He's really beefy, does a hell of a lot of damage. He doesn't need bells. Um, yeah, and also his self-absorbing attack, or the buff that gives him HP steal is really, really good. And then his limit break is just so much damage. It's just a hell of a lot of damage.
yeah, yeah. So the two things that I um, find contentious with him is like Vinny mentioned, like the low mobility, but also the orc. I just had it and I lost it apparently. Wow, I just totally lost what I was about to say.
I've been there.
What?
I got you.
I might have to come back to that, but have you seen like in a three-man PvP team, like I've seen him at the party screen be at like 1700 attack, and that's just terrifying. Like before any kind of buffs or anything. Oh man, that's really frustrating. Like I just totally my brain is a steel sieve.
Yeah, I guess Vinny, what are your like what are his stats looking like in formation screen?
I'll bring it up now.
If you don't have it available, that's fine. Yeah, take your time. Also, I just realized we could test the crystal thing by basically go into a fight with like no item Astrius, and then use the LB, and then use his sure hit with a 0% chance to hit, so that you hit the sure hit, but the crystal tracer, if it if it is normal, it would never hit because you're at 0%, or does it hit because it's it's tied to the attack itself.
Okay, I'm back.
Okay,
I don't know if you're done yet.
Daniel's back
Back
again.
again. Okay, so the second point was that he, like a lot of these newer units that have just like awesome fucking skills, right? He suffers from having to choose which skills to use. Like you only have a limited amount of turns to really like set up what he can do. So you're gonna have to choose, like, do you buff
It's a first
accuracy?
world problem.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. So, like, do you buff accuracy? Do you buff his absorb? Like, obviously, courage is going to be one of the first ones. Um, so I think, yeah, it's a first world problem, but it's still something that everybody's going to have to consider. And if they don't consider it, it's kind of like Elena, like using Stella Maris, like the attack and magic buff, instead of using courage. Like, the fuck are you doing? You know? So I think that's important to consider.
Well, it's also important that his indomitability, like the whole defense pen AP thing, doesn't have a turn limit. So using
Yeah,
that first seems real good,
exactly.
versus trying to, because I've people will talk about like using buffs all the time. It's like, oh, but it's 3 turns, 3 turns. If you go buff, 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 and you're like, yeah, I'm powered up, it's like you get 1 turn of that first buff, 2 turns of that second buff, and only 3 of the third. And like the sequencing is super important. And then when it all falls off, you're back to your base self if you don't find time to buff again. So I think that's actually really important on him, that does not have a limitation besides
Yeah.
having courage active.
And so like
Very, very insane.
those three buffs that I talked about, that's not even mentioning like the TMR,
Oh,
like
of
if you're
course,
using like
yeah.
Keen Blade or whatever.
Yep.
So yeah, you're gonna have to like pick your battles wisely in the sense of like what buffs you want to use when. And I
Yeah,
think
Finney's got like 7.2k HP, 1.4k attack, 102 agility, approaching 500 luck. It's insane.
nice. Okay, so here's the question I always ask towards the end.
Wait, just real quick, Vinny, did you completely just interrupt your experiences in PvP though? We were talking about like the weaknesses of
Oh
height, but I
shit.
don't know if you actually talked about the matches themselves.
Um, I guess what Daniel said, and also kind of what happened with me a little bit sometimes. So yeah, first turn indomitability, second turn deep fortification. The HP buff is actually really nice, but I never needed to use Call of the Wild because, well, slash res pen is like 30 slash res pen is a lot, but usually you don't see any massive slash res builds in live PvP. And I never needed the 30 accuracy, so I could always skip that. But another thing to balance is his limit break is only 3 turns, so you want that up as well and trying to maximize that.
Like
So
you
it's
don't
like
want to be
another
using TP skills while you have the ping buff
yeah.
active, so you want to make sure
It's
you have
not
enough AP.
usually a problem. Because once you use your LB, it's only got 3 range. You're definitely engaged in battle. It'll only really run out if they have ranged units at the back and you need to chase them down.
All right, so Daniel, what were you saying?
I just wanted to make sure to bring up addressing how to deal with him. Like if you're facing Astrius, um like what do you think he's the most weak to? I mean, obviously lightning is a big deal, especially with Esther. But like who do you think would be most effective against him? For those of us that are worried about dealing with him.
Someone piloting him poorly. No. He's his own biggest weakness.
Have you struggled with anybody?
I struggled against Astrius, which probably
Like a
doesn't
mirror
help
match?
anyone. Yeah, so I played someone who was using um, Titus, Astrius, and Lara. Because of the map, Lara could just barrage people from afar, which is a pain. Titus Hayescat on everyone. Everyone's really fast. So, and Astrius himself had Kingblade. So yeah, that was pretty terrifying. In terms of like ways to counter him, like I've not thought, I haven't played enough to really know what to do against him, apart from just try and wail on him. I think
I think a lot of people
if you
wailed on him.
if you have move down, maybe you can slow it down his approach. It's something that's worth trying. Cloud and Frederica do have a lot of chaining potential and can possibly burst him down. But I suspect he'll be able to get a hit off, like hit back, because of his courage and his survivability. Other than that, yeah, I'd have to play a bit more to kind of really know how to
Yeah.
deal with him.
So how do you feel about his agility? Like if the hyper agility carries like rush at you, like Katone trying to get off her LB, like would Astrius be like if Astrius is her main target, like is that another factor into your 30 faith build?
Yeah, that is another factor. Like you get charmed less or stopped less, or you're less vulnerable to statuses. Um, and yeah, can he one shot Ketone? Um,
Probably.
Maybe, probably.
With the guaranteed hit at least. Unless she was in like a drain force build or something, which doesn't
Yeah.
really push
Even then,
agility.
though, it's like just super high HP. It's like, oh, just a bigger meat bag to bring down. But
Mm.
Yeah,
Because
because
cross construction.
her Utsusemi buffs magic res and missile res, but not slash res. So
yeah. What were we saying about the cross ability, Vinny?
Yeah, it's got 30 defense down. Like I've never worried about accuracy on Astrius. Probably it's assuming it would stop me. But then there's only one turn and I can always retreat. And even then I don't expect it to go down to like 0%. It'll
Or
probably be
use
like
unfailing void
50.
blade. It's just like, oh, okay, we'll just 200 mod you, guaranteed hit.
Yep.
All right, so real quick, while we're on story time, Isfar, you may unmute if you'd like to tell your story about fighting against Lazarus, because I find it funny. If you're down, I know you're in chat. There you are.
Oh yeah. No, I'm here. So I am fire player, right? And I'm trying to force, like, as opposed to what I was saying on the podcast, I'm trying to force Lilith into my ZM team for next class match instead of running Esther. We're just seeing how it works. So after Astrius released, I was looking around for scrims against him because I expect to see him and I need to know if I can actually kill him. So Lazarus is like, "Hey, I got a fun team. How about do you want to skirm against me?" Like, yeah,
that's your first
absolutely.
problem. When Lazarus says, "I have a fun team," you like red flags all over the place.
Yeah, exactly. So I get in there and it's Velas Astrius Uni, right? And I'm like, okay, all right. Sorry, but so Velas hastes everyone up. Uni has the problem with that team is actually like, okay, Astrius is coming in. I'm like, all right, I gotta watch out for the Keenblade, all this stuff, line up my stuff to deal with Astrius. But Uni shuts down all of my CT from outside of, like, essentially outside of my range, right? He, with Arrowfall, it outranges even Setia's ability to get to him, and he's hasted, and in that version of the team I did not have haste. But so he shuts down my Keenblade completely, right? I cannot counter Keenblade on the approach. And the good news is, with Setia's Fire in Peril, I am able to actually kill Astrius without too much issue as he's approaching. But hasted up Uni and Velis, also shutting down my CT, and then CT averaging themselves to continue getting more turns. And
CT average.
yes, no, because CT average, right? With with you
I
guys
love that
hasted,
skill, man.
it's so insane. But like, there was nothing I could do too, right? Because Uni doesn't deal, and Arrowfall has a very low mod.
Yeah,
But
it's like
even with
min.
that, if he's constantly getting turns and I'm fire and he's water, like, those Arrowfalls are still gonna kill me.
I mean, I saw the screenshots. Wasn't he sitting at like over 1K attack?
Yeah, he's over 1K attack,
That's
like
insane
600 dex or something.
for a
On
ranger.
Uni?
Yeah.
Yeah.
600 decks? Oh my.
I forget how much dex. It was a lot of dex. But yeah, I mean, the point to our actual discussion here is, and I said it in the chat, you don't want to be in melee with Astrius. I think if you've got there, you're, unless you are specifically Esther, you're kind of losing already if you're
He's
letting him
strong.
attack you. uh, but
Nice.
it is possible to kill him before he gets to you, because he is bulky, right, and he's got courage, but he's not like an unassailable wall. He's a bruiser. He's not quite on Esther levels of survivability, but if you, I don't, you can't disable him, but he's gonna be low faith, but you can either status him or just kill him from range. Like you were saying earlier, Frederica Cloud should be able to just murder him. Even, like, that's the thing. Even my team, which is element disadvantage, was able to kill him on the approach with 3 attacks, right? Imperil, additional attack to pop courage, and then kill him.
Yeah, that's fair.
So yeah, I think he's hyped for a good reason, but utilizing the thing that he really brings to manual is that huge damage threat, is the courage and the keen blade that you can then utilize in creative ways, like Lazarus was doing with Velis and freaking Uni.
Yeah, Keenblade into
But
CT average sounds dirty.
yeah, exactly. Because like, I didn't feel helpless against Astrius. I felt helpless against Uni, that little monster.
That little monster.
That little monster. There was nothing I could do, because with all of the haste and CT shenanigans in play for the other team, it's like, if you don't have it, you're fighting at such a disadvantage, right? You've
Right.
got half the turns they do. And
All
then
right.
All right, back to the shadow realm for
Kudos
you.
to
We'll,
Les.
yeah, we're gonna we're gonna pop in. All right, so
Thanks, this one.
yeah, appreciate that. Hilarious hearing about Uni, but okay, so any other thoughts on Astrius? Kind of, well, parting thoughts, build thoughts, whatever. Vinny.
One last thing I forgot to say was that instead of that katana, you could use Oa's katana with 15 manuter on it.
Yeah, I forgot to mention.
Yeah, which works with his crystal tracer. So a lot. I know some people in the Reddit Discord have been hyping that weapon up instead. But for manual PvP, you lose out on the flexibility of the TMR.
Right.
It's possible choice.
I just really like the resist pens over the damage, but I mean, maybe he just doesn't have that much of an issue, especially since he has the option to buff for it. Like, maybe it's just fine anyway. And Trust Stone's kind of factoring in there as well. But yeah, if that's all from you, Daniel, any thoughts?
No, that's it. I'm glad that Vinny brought that up because I forgot to.
Okay. So, outside of Astrius, We're about an hour in. Vinny, do you have a little bit of time? All right, and then
Yep.
Daniel, you're cool, right?
Yeah.
All right. So I want to bring up a combination of thoughts, kind of revolving around trust stones. Since we haven't really discussed them too much on the podcast yet, we've brought them up in passing, and maybe and like I think we were talking about like elemental resist at one point, so we kind of like teased at some of the things you can do with them. And I don't want to like act like we're going to be putting out a guide or something. However, I just want to get some input, maybe from a combination of you guys plus chat, on a couple things. So first, more like philosophical thoughts for trust stones, and this does affect the podcast. Is should we kind of do you think that trust stones should adjust the way you evaluate units at a base level? So like we kind of go through these summaries and saying what the resists look like, what their HP looks like, how high their agility is, all these things, what they have access to in terms of penetrations and attack mods and all that. Does it seem worth accounting for average trust stone choices in those evaluations, or should it just be like or does it kind of wash because every unit gets the same analysis essentially? Like everyone has access to the same trust stones, so can you just kind of assume that everybody has these things and just not talk about them at all? And then does that lead into sort of a mental fallacy because while you can say trust stone bonuses are symmetrical across units, they're not really because base values are different. So it kind of it has a higher impact, like for luck especially. Like I've seen most people, at least for like guild battles and stuff, putting just luck sets across the board because you have to be able to hit like mono light teams in guild battle. But they get a lot more from these luck stones than you do. So are you kind of like, is it an uphill battle, etc.? So these are just thoughts I've been having on kind of how to factor them into unit analysis. Lots of questions. Daniel, do you have any thoughts kind of going into that? Which, especially because you're on like all the podcasts with me. Like,
Yeah.
do you think we
So
should be taking these into account at all, or?
it's interesting how more so than any of the gear we've had in the past, despite waffling over like slash res pen or defense pen or straight damage or how efficient you are with pushing how much penetration you have. I think the rune system almost is has a meta in itself. Like you're saying, luck and accuracy stones are kind of like what people really need right now with because of the just pervasiveness of evasion teams. But like as the current meta shifts, if evasion teams get shut down more, then like you won't really need to run these runes if you're not expecting like these teams to fight against. So it's weird how it's like a meta within a meta. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I think that's important to consider. It's I mean, it's just another thing to have to like keep track of in terms of not just grinding it like every month, getting in like your monthly like 50 transfers for pink runes, right? That's like I can't even remember how many purple runes you need for that. It's like 25 times 50, so it's like 750 purple runes a month for each type, obviously.
Wouldn't that be 75? Was 7,500? Or no, wait, is it 750? 25 times 500. All right,
I'm the
hang on.
math guy.
My brain's wrong. Yeah.
Oh wait, so 250 times 5 would be like 1250. That's right.
Okay, I was
Um,
saying there's
yeah,
an
yeah,
extra zero we're missing somewhere in here, but
um, but in terms of like how should it change how we look at new units, I think it's important to consider how the unit itself might affect the meta, and then take that into account when deciding what runes to use, more so than what gear to use. Does that make sense?
yeah, and I think part of it too is like we see certain breakpoints where I'm like, yeah, 10 slashers is cool. But if it was like 20 or 25, like, oh my god, this is insane because it's a different breakpoint. But like when you can add slash resist on a trust stone, we start to approach those sort of oh my god values easier. Or if we have an agility set, does that push their agility insanely high? It's you can kind of stretch units out into stat lineups that are more valuable, but at the same time, if the other team does the exact same thing, you're basically on pace. Unless we're talking about percentage base values. So it's just a weird thing. Like I wrestle with myself. I don't know how much of it I want to account for. However, I will say, in terms of we've already been doing, it does change my weapon analysis for sure.
Yeah.
So there's when you can go up to 10 attack type, so like pierce attack, strike attack, slash attack, whatever on a rune, but you can only go to like 10 slash res pen or spirit pen, those sort of things. It makes the weapons that have 15 attack versus 20 of the penetrations seem way worse now, because you can just lose a 5% mod and gain 10% penetration of a type. So I think that there's definitely a drastic shift in my sort of mental analysis of weapons now, where I want to have more of the spirit pen and res pen on my weapons that aren't in my TMR slot because of that. So I think that's one major shift for me. If you guys share that sentiment or not, but looks like you had a thought, Daniel, then we'll hop over to Vinny for a little bit.
Yeah, so one example I had of like watching out for the units that get released is before deciding what runes to use. So I was talking earlier about like Blade Souls being so reliant on critting. Like if a unit came out that was really reliant on a certain like stat to pop off, as we say, like you would consider, and like you didn't have access to like a crit mod on a weapon or something like that. Like Violet, for instance, like you might consider using crit over another like default stat that you would normally get, like slash res pen, defense pen, slash attack up. Probably not attack up because that's pretty ubiquitous. Um, but yeah, so like, do you see what I mean? Like how like a job itself can feed into like what runes to get.
For sure. I think that kind of lumps in though with like that's the unit. So
Yeah.
it kind of with that unit analysis comes those sort of factors. Vinny, we haven't gone to you yet. Do you have a initial input on that?
Yeah. So I've always tailored or thought about the rune sets or tailored the runes to the unit. But usually it's look accuracy. But then there's some standouts. For example, Noctis. If you're using him in PvP, do you really need luck accuracy when you can use his short hit? And it depends what you're using him for. Because I've seen people use Noctis as a really beefy bruiser, and against non-evasion teams, he has all of his kit available, and he's bruisery. But then against evasion teams, he can still do a lot of damage with his short hit because he's also got an attack set and he's bulky from his HP set.
Not to mention VCs.
The VCs are huge, yeah.
And the other thing to consider, especially for double quickening, is the agility set, because can you break those agility breakpoints? Suddenly you can with a lot of units, like they can go up to the next tier, but you're losing out on the accuracy set suddenly. And are there any quickeners that have short hit? Probably the most accurate one is Merrymore.
What about Nivlu?
Nivlu's not that accurate, or at least from what I found.
I was thinking from like dexterity and sort of standpoint, I feel like she'd be higher. But again, we talk about dexterity is apparently a pretty shit for accuracy.
Yeah. You would expect Nivlu to be fairly accurate, but she's kind of accurate, but not too accurate.
She like set to like you have to invest in accuracy more than you would for.
Yeah.
Like Solir has sure hit. Oh no, she doesn't have quicken though. Fuck. She's a time mage.
So yeah, it's like agility. Normally you would go luck, accuracy with Nivlu, or most quickeners, but agility is an option to getting you to the next clock tier. So I think it depends on unit to unit. If you see something particularly niche, For example, another example, Ex Victoria with an AP set, stacking that AP cost reduction, then you don't need bells, which gives you more other options. So yeah, that's how I look at it.
It's interesting to me how like even mirror matches aren't exactly mirror matches anymore, because
Yep.
of the runes. Like you can't really expect it to be a true mirror match, um, and it's a little hard to really tell what you're facing against in terms of runes. You know, it's like you remember? I don't know. I swear it was a thing where like you could see what weapon they were using, therefore you could tell, like whether they're using Excalibur versus like I don't know the fucking Ragnarok or whatever.
Or Lasalia when that
You have to
came
worry
out.
about like, oh, they have more accuracy now.
And that, but now with the fucking like the glamour system, essentially, you can just you have no idea what weapon they're using because they
Yeah.
can just have like an end ready. Which actually
So,
reminds me real quick. So I guess finish your thought and then I'll come back to that.
well, I was just now with like TMR weapons like being like beefed up even further, it's like, well, that whole like dynamic is just fucked now.
So do you guys have for Astrius specifically any favorite weapon appearance? Because I was kind of going through the options and I could not decide if I wanted more of like a pretending Phoenix bow for charm. Oh, I do that on all my guys. So yeah, do you have like a preferred image? Because I was going through, you could have like the classic samurai look of like a badass like nice katana. You could do a more bulky katana, so it looks like you're gonna hit somebody harder. Lastwell's sword is really cool looking in general, but the blue's a little off. His weapon obviously fits perfectly, so that may just be the easy answer. Have you given it any thought, or am I just like the only one diving deep into this for some reason? Vinny, you're shaking your head. I assume you haven't even looked into it. No, not at all. Okay. And then Daniel, have you looked at his sort of fashion at all for his weapon?
Um, it's kind of like a luxury preference. Like
The
when
important
I'm
question, man.
well, I mean like when I'm first building a unit and like the first week or so, like I generally I haven't really rushed units the first day because I know it's just a waste if I like don't take into account like their shards that I'm getting or turning them into mind spheres or whatever. Um but like when I'm first building a unit, I'm like, it's just it's a consideration to some extent because we do like our units looking well. It makes me think of in my LARP somebody, one of their like words of wisdom was like, "Win if you can, lose if you must, but always look good doing it."
There you
And
go.
I don't know why I've always remembered that because I don't really care, but it's right there next to favorite equipment. So I'm like, oh, I wonder how I'm gonna dress up my pretty little doll today. Like
Jesus
what
Christ.
sword looks best, um, and like whether they're a samurai, like they're a real like katana user, or if they're just playing at being a samurai, but they're really from Europe or something. I don't know. Um, I think there aren't as many katana like skins as there are like normal swords or whatever. Um, but I kind of prefer like I think it's Seymour's like Odachi of Destruction. I think I like that one the best.
Yeah, that one's definitely nice looking. I think for now I've had on Osifune because it's just like a thick katana, so it's a little more bulky, so you can see it better in the character model, but at the same time it looks sort of like a normal katana. Um, but honestly, Lasso is pretty dope too. That's like the one I have on most of my units. I just for him I've been just messing around a little more because I do expect to use him quite a bit. So I've just kind of explored that. But obviously, super small percentages here. It doesn't help you win any games. But I mean, I guess if someone like assumes you have slash attack for some reason instead of slash pen, maybe they make a decision. But if anyone's doing that these days, they gotta remember that it literally has no impact because you can't tell what they're using anymore. I actually don't like for live PvP that is a thing. Also, because I think there was a cool like knowledge
Yeah,
aspect where you could see their weapon and you could adjust based on kind of how you assume they're building. So I'm not a fan in competitive environments being able to glamour like that, but it is what it is. As we know, it's not their first thought is optimizing for live content like that, so it's whatever. But Yeah, I guess I had like one more bullet point here, which is more of just like a chatting. So, how are we doing with trust stones? Like, how are you doing with how many do you have stored up on various stones? Are you getting your sets that you want? Or are you just rolling all the stuff that you want for later? Do you have any super niche sets? So we kind of have, I know Vinny, we have, it was more of what I would call like a specialist player. Like you don't pull for everything. You don't try to collect everything. You have like, you plan a lot. So I could imagine you having some interesting sets. I have like one niche set. Like I have a very specific Velas set that I built. But I don't, but generally I've been trying to go more generic so I can help both, guild battles as well as live PvP. Staying more generic. But yeah, so do you have any niche sets built up? Start with Vinny.
I built a spirit set for the healing up because we've had quite a few CMs with healing down. So I sort of want to see, can I get a healer to actually start healing during these, like healing reliably through these rule sets.
Choose Rosa.
But as far as like how far I am with runes, I've got 5 right hand sets, 1's agility, 2 physical aim. I've got a massive spreadsheet, as most people do.
No, you don't.
I actually don't have a spreadsheet yet, but I need to build one for sure.
Yeah, there's just mostly missing a few passives here and there. Like I'm missing a lot of water attacks, which I've only seen one of those, which is a pain.
Ooh. Wait, how many
and on
rerolls do you
my
have a day?
25.
That's what it starts at?
Only 25.
Oh, man.
Yeah. It does save me time not having to go through
It
50.
does save you time, yeah. Less carpal tunnel. In the long run, you're going to win CMs because we're all going to be sitting here with like creaked up fucking hands. Like we're not able to hold our phone because we reroll so much. Oh my god. That's crazy. Anyway,
But,
sorry.
most of my sets are just look and aim. I have one magic set. I'm not sure why I built that, but it's there.
Fair enough.
1 HP and 1 spirit set. The annoying thing about the aim sets is that I've got them split between, I've got 2 physical aim and 1 magical aim. And that's because when tempering them, like re-rolling the stats, I only target, it's just a pain to target maximum attack and magic and the third stat. So I've just kind of gone just max attack and the third one.
Wait, Vinny. All right, now I gotta ask, because chat's saying you can go even lower. What's your royal rank?
Royal rank 5?
Oh, you're up to 5 now.
Yeah, so day 1 free-to-plays are at 5 now. I was
because you
already
get
at
that's
5.
right. That's right. Okay. I forgot that you get the royal rank XP every, like, based on dailies and stuff. That's interesting. Up to 5?
Yep.
Huh.
Yep.
That's like, if I recall, I think royal rank 6 was like the first checkpoint, like way back in the day. And that was like,
I don't remember.
it was like $350, I think. $350, something like that. Back in the like very beginning of the game, I'm sure there's different packs and stuff that whatever. But I think that was like $350 back then. That's a lot of value for just like logging in. like, huh. I was gonna say $1 a day, but that's actually not quite there. But which, by the way, did I mention this on previous podcast, the Royal Rank 14 thing? Because it just blew my mind.
I think so.
I think I did. Yeah. Oh my god. Anyway, so I'm saying even less for, I think it's 2022. So you must start at like 20. Yeah. So you get like to 25. I think we need 1 or 2 more years to hit Royal Rank 6. Oh god.
Yeah. Just wait for like the first Royal Rank 14 player to like post on Reddit, like, oh, I made it. Like, that's not something to brag about, my dude.
I have everything. I can't, like, even if someone gave me $20,000 to spend, like, I don't even know what I would do with it. Like, it would have to be over time to be efficient, because like doing it all at once just sounds stupid. Like the rates, like all the discounts over time, maybe, but that's just nuts to me. We just got a spreadsheet posted here. Oh, these are all the different sets for. I like how you put wet attack instead of water attack. Hey, it's the same letters that are in water, just like less of them. So I guess it makes sense. It is fast, but that's funny. Man, you
And
even
I
have like
call
your other equipment like planned out. That's crazy.
light lit.
Lit
Thunder
attack
Gun. Yep.
Lit.
done.
I use that for lightning,
Lit attack.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
pretty
I can
short.
see that.
like lit 3 from like Final Fantasy 1, something.
I can see that. I can see that.
So Vinny, are you done talking about your specific runes?
Yeah. I'm just
All
gonna
right.
post the other one in chat.
Yes, if you want to see
I
Vinny's little table here, join the PvP Discord, and you can watch us live on Sunday mornings at 10:30 Eastern. Well, 10 to 10:30. It depends on the day, but yeah, this spreadsheet. I like this spreadsheet. We're saying
I don't know how like special or niche it is or whatever, but like I'm really digging the runes that I have where it's basically it's tanky, but it's not like HP, defense, or spirit or resistance tanky. It's elemental resistance tanky,
mm-hmm.
where like you're stacking all 8 elements. You can only push it from like 4 to 7, but like in the HP bonus set on the left, where you get the 5 elemental resistance as well, so that's 12. And then
Thought about that.
what's it?
I said I've thought
What
about
about that?
doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there's you can like also include like the fucking the debuff resistance for all elements or attack types, up to 25%. Like
How do you get all?
uh,
Wait, how? Which ones did you pick? Because you can only get 6, right?
I'm still building it. Oh shoot, I'm holding control down. That's my push to talk. So like I can't scroll up or down. But pretty sure like I'm looking for like all 8 element resistances.
But
But
how
there's
would you
there's
get them?
what's that? For rune
Wait,
passives?
There's only 6 passive slots, but
yeah,
there's
there's only
8
6
elements.
passives. Yeah.
Right. There's 2 each, so you can have 12 total.
No, but the
It's
you can't
left
put
and right.
the offensive doesn't have attack resists.
I'm
Only
talking about
only
the
only the defensive set get those.
yeah.
So it's
Talking
6
about the
passives.
I thought all UR runes can get all the UR passives. No.
No.
Oh,
No. One side's only defense, one side's only offense.
okay. Wow, I've been suffering under false pretenses this whole time.
Oh, have you been rerolling offensive ones trying to get resists?
No, it's I think I've been lucky because I've
Okay.
only been building it on the defense set, and like
Sure.
this has just been like a work, like a hobby, like a uh, work of love or whatever.
Right,
Like
right.
just so I have like 4. I have like dark winds, ice, and like light or something. So like yeah, I've only started doing this in the past like week or so, but other than that, like I don't really have like really anything special. But like it's hard for me to come up with anything else that's like really gonna be like really niche. Because like as we talked about, like you tailor the rune set to the units you're going to be using, right?
Right.
And I haven't really had too many runes to play around with. Like obviously I had to get my luck and accuracy sets up as soon as possible, and that actually took longer for me than I think is average, so like that was really frustrating. Like it took me like 8 or 9 days to roll my first accuracy 4 at 50 rerolls a day.
That was me for acquired AP.
I was like, why is this happening? So yeah, I don't really have much more to say other than that. Like, I'm really psyched about using elemental resistance as a defense stat. This gives us more of a chance to be able to do that.
Definitely a
Um,
fan.
One quick question for you, Daniel. Which 2 elements will you drop then?
yeah, that's a good question. I think it also depends on which ones I'm using them on. So like, if I'm really focused on a fire team, like I don't really need to worry about fire
I
or
or ice.
ice.
Yep.
So like, it kind of helps. Um, it's almost in the sense of like using the element rings. Like they give you fire, or like for the fire ring gives you fire and like ice res, right?
Sure.
So like you're kind of covering that base if you really want to push like the element resistances. But it really just depends because at the end of the day, it does come down to like the war of attrition. Like you only have a certain amount of resources to use, so maybe it'll be different a year from now. But I think like overall right now, like I'm kind of getting burnt out with re-rolling so much every day. I actually haven't used any re-rolls over the past 2 days. And I mean it's been a busy weekend for me, but I still feel bad. Like I start the morning and I'm like, I wonder how many rerolls I'm going to do today. And then like at the end of the night, I'm like, I haven't done any rerolls. Like like there's a little voice in my head saying, you haven't done any rerolls, you piece of shit. Like
Right. The
um
gains. Yeah.
obviously like, be kind to yourself. Don't listen to that little voice. But it's
He's
it
really
is
loud though.
it is exhausting to like have to keep up with that, on top of like the grind every month of trying to get as many pink runes as possible. Or red runes if you prefer red runes.
Yeah, man, the shit, I read a comment in chat and then my brain just like got erased. Holy shit. Um Yep. Oh, I was gonna say, yeah, I have not actually maxed out my yellow runes every month. Like I got all but one pink rune maxed last month. Definitely slacked on that a bit and had some other stuff I was working on too. This month, definitely a goal. I'm gonna get everything covered. I'm gonna convert everything over. Just kind of have to, honestly. But
It's kind of like a FOMO. Like it
but
sucks to lose out.
it makes sense though. Like over time, there's so much. I guess I'm not so worried about the yellows because they are just for storage.
Yeah.
Um, and I actually did because I slacked a bit on doing my farming. I have done the greedy move of getting a good passive on a pink rune, moving it over to a yellow, moving the yellow shitty passive onto the pink, and then rolling it away. So that the same yellow rune can hold two good pink passives.
Yeah,
Just
that's
because
what you're
I don't
supposed to
have
do,
enough.
right?
Well, that's a lot of hammers. You're not supposed to do that. No, you should have one
I
stored
mean,
on
if you
each.
really want to save it, but yeah.
Right. Because eventually that will bite me because the hammers will be the bottleneck. But right now I was bottlenecked on yellow rune, so I just gotta accept it. And it's kind of nice to have one because I guess that gives me at least one of whatever that type is that I can just always have two moving around since I'll never dismantle it. But yeah, it's definitely one of those things that like every day, like you said, it's like, oh man, I still gotta do my rerolls. And then you're just like crying while doing it, going through, crying while playing this, for again first world problems. But anyways, uh, yeah. So I guess that kind of moves on to I definitely have a lot of storage going on these yellow runes. They're very helpful to be able to do so. Niche sets. I think for me personally, the only like niche things that are abnormal would be like the amount of ice attacks I might have saved, or I have a couple extra other like I think I have like a cast time saved also because I can imagine a world in which I want to have that on somebody. I just got to find like who has good breakpoints that makes that valuable. Um, I guess like Mish is an example because if I ever make a set for him, I can take off that focus passive if I give him additional cast time. Assuming it doesn't affect his TP skill casting, which I'd have to check, but to get him down to 1 ticks. But yeah, I don't really have any other ideas right now. We'll talk slowly about trust zones over time. I just want to kind of bring that up today because it's been on my mind about how much we should be changing our analysis based on them. But been another another 90-minute one here. Feels pretty good. We can cut it here though. Like I said, I could, as I am right now, I could ramble on for hours about stuff. So any parting thoughts this week, Vinny?
No, I'll keep using Astrius in free match. Try and get some more info on about him. Yeah, that's about it.
Oh, good. Daniel, any parting thoughts?
Yes, one very important parting thought from me,
Okay.
and that is the fact that this month we only have 4 Wednesdays. Well, it's important because um, it's class match month, and so we might be looking at the next class match a week from Wednesday. possibly 2 weeks, although that would be like the last Wednesday of the month. So, I mean, it would be a full week, um, even if it's the end of the month, and then like the next Wednesday would be the first. So it would be like the 25th to the first, you know. So I'm kind of hoping for the 18th for class match, and it's important to note that the map that it's on, Mines 2, is currently available in the practice match mode. And it's the same one as like was available in free match like recently. I think it was, I don't know, a little while back. Um, so yeah, get ready for that because it's quicken null and decreased healing 50. Um, so if you have the chance to practice, like it's almost like a tangible reward. Like the more you practice in advance with the teams you want to use, like the better results you're going to get. So I mean, I don't want to sound like a broken record every time, but hopefully you're ready for it in time, and I'm sure we'll talk about it next week as well, maybe more in depth. So we'll see.
All right. Thank you everybody in chat for being in chat today. It's nice to see consistent names and also some new names every now and then. But yeah, I have no more thoughts. So thank you everyone for joining. I've been Zach Bro.
I've been Daniel Boone.
And we'll see you next week.